tickets is a subject that is all over social media at the minute, Sam.
Yes, we have to have an arm wrestle, don't we?
We do, and I think everybody seems to be having arm wrestling because they're struggling to get tickets. So we've seen that this morning, that the ticket availability for the away and the home legs against Southampton in the Carabao Cup semi-finals are very, very, especially the home ones, it's limited to one per person season tickets, and then it'll go to members. You're pretty confident you're going to get there?
Yeah, I am to the home leg because I think the club made the sensible decision to not allow season ticket holders to buy an additional ticket. And look, there's no right or wrong way. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But, you know, if you're a season ticket holder, you've got the opportunity to secure your seat first anyway. So why do you need an additional one? I mean, the membership sold out. So to have members, they need to have some opportunity to get a ticket as well. So I think it's a sensible move. I mean, it's going to be absolute chaos and anarchy trying to get your hands on the tickets, and the website will probably crash, and we'll be in queues for 2 hours or whatever trying to get a ticket for the second leg. But yeah, we're in the semi-final, so what do you expect? This is Newcastle United we're talking about. So yeah, it's bound to have been that case. Just imagine what will happen if we get to the final. It'll be riots trying to get hold of a ticket.
Yeah, it'd be nosebleed territory. I mean, even I'm struggling to get down there, and I've got quite a high amount of points, and even for the away leg, which we're looking at, and then the home leg, and then we've even seen people booking pre in advance for tickets for the neutral seats, the posh seats, is what you want to call it, in Wembley. Newcastle fans might have a big of egg on their faces if we don't make it.
Well, yeah, because they're off secondary ticket websites. They're not officially on sale from Wembley or anything. So you're buying from essentially a ticket tout already. So you're paying 10 times what the ticket price should be to make some scumbag, taking advantage of football fans and making a scumbag a few thousand quid in some cases. So, I mean, I can see the kind of organisational side of things where you want to book your hotels because, look, we have. We've got a hotel booked for Wembley, but it's a refundable. It's
not a store, are you?
Well, it's refundable. So if it all goes,
but the snow run's refundable, is it?
Yeah. But
I'll see that. Yes.
Yeah, but if it does all go wrong, we can get our money back. So from that side of things, you're just kind of being a bit thrifty and saving your money because the closer you get to the final, your hotel prices are going to skyrocket in price, aren't they? That's what happens. So to get in there, save a bit of money first on what will be a very expensive weekend if we do get to Wembley, is smart. But I certainly wouldn't be buying any tickets off any secondary ticket sale sites just yet. Anyway,
no, because they are, like you say, Sam, they are a ridiculous amount of price to fork out, especially with gas, electric, and bills shooting up on left, right, and centre. I mean, it's probably cheaper to get a corporative box at Wembley than it is to get a bottle of Prime these days. That's the inflation of everything.
That's supposed to be vile as well, that Prime.
Well, no idea. I think it's more about the kids and all that, and all the young'uns who want to get involved and all that. And, anyways, we'll not talk about that because it's madness. But wanted to come off tickets for a second, and Adidas, which kind of probably excites me and you because obviously our first season was 95, 96, and remember it like it was yesterday. A rumour to be back in for the next kit supply, and there's been some speculation that they're in attendance for the last game as well against Fulham. Would you be up for that?
Yes, please. Yes, please. Absolutely. It was like a mainstay for over 20 years. For as you say, from our first season supporting Newcastle in the early mid-90s, and all right, Puma. I didn't mind Puma overall. Castor have some great designs, but the quality is, There's been a bit of to and fro about that with Castor. I don't think they've done themselves any favours since they've had our kit deal, and it would be very much a welcome return for Adidas because they're the big dogs, and Newcastle United are going to be the big dogs again soon. So it makes sense to restart this once fruitful partnership and give it another go. And it has to happen, doesn't it? Has to.
Yeah, because obviously it's the memories in it. You know, the Keegan years and the kits were just ironic with the brown ale, home and away, even the Champions League one as well. It's just memories. For me, it's nostalgia because it's memories as a kid growing
Yeah,
up.
I mean, you ask most Newcastle fans, particularly around our age or younger, what were their favourite Newcastle kits? I mean, 99% of them are going to choose an Adidas one.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I can see your requests coming in as well. We will take them on once we're rattled through the news and then just pop on and have your say on anything that we're discussing in today's space because we haven't done one of these for ages. Must be about up to 6 months to a
Do you know
year.
the last one we did?
No, I can't remember.
So I think me and Johnny were sat in my car. Was it before the Leicester game?
No, I mean Johnny did one actually
Up for the
for the
women.
women's,
Yes, you're right. Yes. You're right. Yeah.
and that would have been about a year
That was
ago.
the Kingston Park one as well.
Let me know. We've got to start doing these more often. I think
Yeah.
dead easy. Bruno, Shelby, injuries. What's your
Bruno
thoughts?
Shelvey, is he another player we've been linked to? No,
Probably.
look, weeks, not months. So the chances are, well, it's almost certainly he's not going to be available at Palace. I'd be amazed if he was going to be available for the first leg of the Cup. Then we've got a week gap until the second leg. So I think if you're being hopeful, then the second leg at home in the Cup is when you can expect to see Bruno again at the earliest. John Joe's still probably a few weeks away, at least. That's if we do see John Joe again. Contract up at the end of the season. He has to play he has to start, I beg your pardon, a few more games to activate a further year on his contract. I don't know. It really wouldn't surprise me if we didn't see John Joe Shelvey start another game. We saw Rafa did this with Mo Diame a few seasons ago, didn't we?
Aye.
I believe now we have to sign a centre midfielder in this window.
Interesting. We'll come on to transfers in a moment. We are going to drop onto that. Just with the Bruno one, it's much better news. Obviously, Craig Hope has just tweeted in the last half an hour or so that he thinks, and he's got some sources, that the club don't think it's serious from the scan, which is fantastic news. And look, John Joe Shelvey, I still think he can add a bit of quality towards the end of the season. But I've done a video actually on Sean Longstaff, which you'll see over on NFTV in the next 24 hours. If John Joe Shelvey was fit, I'm going to put a question to you now. If John Joe Shelvey was fit, does Sean Longstaff start ahead of him?
Yes.
Why?
Because let's face it, he's been brilliant up to his finishing. I mean, you know me, I was sticking up for Sean when he wasn't having a great time of things, when he'd been well and truly Steve Bruced, and there was still a player in there somewhere. Man United still wanted him a few years ago for £50 million. Whether that's more down to Man United's poor recruitment at the time, I don't know. But Sean was phenomenal yesterday. Proper engine room player. And I would expect him to now play in the centre of the three of the midfield, sitting in front of that, in front of the back four, whilst Joelinton and Joe Willock do the running. So he's been fantastic, especially yesterday. He was my man of the match yesterday. It was great to see him get such high praise from Alan Shearer and make it into his Premier League Team of the Week because it was thoroughly deserved. He's
Do you like the fact that he was actually highlighted on national TV this time around?
yes.
Because look, he gets a lot of stick, including from the channel. I'm guilty of it
Yeah,
myself.
I know you are.
I think a lot of us are on the channel as well. I think really it's probably maybe yourself predominantly who will back him up, but he is.
Because
He reminds me of he's the scapegoat. Remember what Paul Dummett was for a couple of years?
yeah, because
Uh,
it's
and
I suppose easy target, local lad, still quite young. Obviously had a lot of poor form pre Eddie Howe. So, look, a lot of the good work he does goes under the radar. He does the quiet work, the dirty work, the work that kind of makes us tick a little bit. When you've got Bruno to the side of you and another £40 million Brazilian prime rib like Joelinton to the side of you, and all the other talent we've got going forward, Sean Longstaff is not going to write any headlines 99% of the time, particularly when he keeps blasting chances over. But, you know, there's more to come from him as well. If he does manage to sort his finishing out, one of these days he'll bag a brace and he'll get a couple more goals, and because it'll come, because the positions he gets into are absolutely spot on. Which was why I was so encouraged when Isak made his return against Sheffield Wednesday. Had them couple of chances. Obviously looked really, really ring rusty, and like he was still missing a yard because he wasn't up to full fitness. Probably still isn't up to full fitness now. But it was the positional sense he gets into and his intelligence of play that gives me such encouragement. And look what happened to with Isak yesterday.
Yeah, I'm going to come back to him in a second. But just with Sean, he does a lot of the running. That was highlight on Match of the Day, which was fantastic. And he's in a team where Newcastle are hardly conceding a goal. When did we last concede? It was, yes, Sheffield Wednesday, but in the league, you're struggling just to think of the team straight away, because I am. It was before the World Cup, wasn't it? And then
it was, yeah.
Yeah, and then he's contributing to a team which is sitting in third. He's a regular, so he's doing the business at the moment. And I said on my video, which will come out, he's playing with better players, and that's not being disrespectful to him, but will up his game in training and in the first team, because he knows that when Bruno and Jonjo come back, and maybe Joelinton to get moved to centre midfield, it's competition for places.
Oh, yeah.
Three out of what, 4 or 5 can go in there, but
that
leaves me nice.
Look, Eddie Howe said yesterday. Elliot Anderson should be on the wing, but Eddie Howe said yesterday we're light in midfield. I know we're about halfway through the window now, just over, but I still expect us really to sign a centre midfielder, whether it's one of the ones from Chelsea, which doesn't really give me the fizz, but we need a body in there, or whether it's a more of a exciting signing. I don't know. But Sean's been great, and look, like you say, he's playing with better players now. When he was having a horrendous run of form, he was playing alongside Nabil Bentaleb, who was probably the worst midfielder I've seen play for Newcastle. So, we're all going in the right direction. You can't please everyone, but Sean's doing well. And he was doing really well at the end of last season too.
Yeah, so it's nice to see that one of the local lads is getting praise. Just with the formation, the tweak of it that he did yesterday against Fulham. Yes, I know the injury probably helped, and yes, Isak coming on in a strange position. But none of us on the channel would have thought, oh, Isak is a 10, really? But he's brought him on as that 10. He's tweaked the formation. I don't think he'll go with that for starting games. No. I think it's an option where if it's 0-0 or 1-1 or he needs a goal, that is something that you can play with. But with 2 questions for you. With that tweak of the formation, do you like it? And secondly, when we will see Isak start?
When Callum Wilson gets injured again, probably.
You not think that they can play together as a 2, or will Eddie Howe just not do that?
I think if they're going to be as a 2, you'll see it like you did yesterday, and I think it's an option for the last kind of 20 minutes when we're chasing a game, when we're trying to win a game, not trying to play for a draw. It's a welcome turn of pace, isn't it? But I think that's when you'll see it, and it worked. Isak did a lot of good work when he came on yesterday. On the break, on the counter, he made a lot of stuff happen, both to initiate attacks, to continue attacks, and as we saw ultimately for the goal, finish off an attack. And it was great work from Callum Wilson, great ball in from Sean Longstaff, great work from Jacob Murphy to intercept the Fulham clearance to start off that move leading to the goal. So it's a plan B. There was a time where I wanted to see 4-2-3-1 every week under the previous regime, but with the players we've got now, we're built for 4-3-3, and we can tweak things, shift things if we need to, as I say, when we need a bit of inspiration to turn 1 point into 3.
Exactly. Right, we're going to move off the first team stuff now and talk about everybody's favourite topic, transfer rumours. Now, if you're like us, the majority of us on the channel don't necessarily enjoy them, even though we do post them for engagement. So maybe we are being a bit self critical of ourselves, perhaps. I don't know what's the word that I'm looking for. Let's rattle through some of these rumours and then we'll get your requests in because I know some people do want to speak. But let's begin with outgoings first, Sam. The Athletic are saying that Carl Darlow and Ryan Fraser are heading out potentially. Can you see both of those happening?
Yeah. I mean, the Fraser has been completely frozen out, which has gone completely under the radar. I don't know how many people...
surprised by that. Because I'm surprised by that.
I am a bit, but there was rumblings...
It's movie every time.
Yeah, but there was rumblings before we started the comeback after the World Cup that Fraser wants first-team football, Fraser wants game time. Is he keeping himself fit now so he can get a move this month? I don't know, but it's a shame. We never really saw the best of him in a Newcastle shirt. If he stays fit and gets a run of games, there's no doubt about it. He's a quality player. But I can see him going. Has he been offered to Everton? I think I read a little rumour this evening. That's a possibility. It'd be a great signing for Everton. He really would. Certainly sharpen up things at Goodison, unfortunately. But it's quite funny how they're getting on at the moment. But yeah, with Darlow, as soon as you saw Dubravka back on the bench and play against Sheffield Wednesday, then you knew that was it. Because, we recalled Dubravka. Man United.
Yeah, it was his request, wasn't it?
Man United didn't cut the loan deal. It was Newcastle that cut the loan deal. So
yeah, on request. Yeah,
exactly. And you've seen Man United go and get another backup keeper in Jack Butland now. So as soon as Dubravka got that game in the cup, you knew the writing was on the wall because there's no point in keeping Darlow to be third choice. I mean, Karius has. I think he's gone in all but official announcement now, hasn't he? He's not in and around the first team squad.
With his extraordinary, wonderful, beautiful-looking girlfriend.
Yeah.
So he's back by Milan, isn't he?
I actually think Karius did really well in the friendly in Saudi. You were there.
Yeah, I was there. I seen it. He only got 45 minutes, but I think Gillespie will be just there to tick a green box. I think he'll be third choice when they submit the 25-man squad. Yes. Probably he'll go in the summer. Another one, and look, it's a Turkish link. You've got to take these with a little bit of pinch of salt, but I've seen it where, and I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce this right, Futumak.
Supermac.
Yeah, it sounds like Supermac, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Malcolm will do a job.
Probably could in some leagues.
Probably still score more goals than Dwight Gale has for Stoke.
Well, that's 0. Both of us have scored 0, haven't we, for Stoke?
Thank God.
John Joe Shelby is interested in Besiktas. Now, they currently have Dele Alli, which is going, that's disastrous for him at the minute. I don't know why they want English midfielders, but it's a rumour that, could you see this happening maybe in a pre-contract agreement, or because Shelby likes it up in the northeast, he likes it in Newcastle.
He does.
Family are settled, and can you see him swanning off to Turkey for a couple of years to enjoy some warm weather?
John Joe Shelby's been with Newcastle for 7 years.
It's a long time, isn't
it? Can I see him going to Turkey? No, I can't. I just can't. I mean, you'd have thought they'd have learned their lesson after Dele Alli. These Turkish outlets and some of these European outlets are just spout utter garbage.
Yeah.
No, I do think there's a distinct possibility that Shelby could go at the end of the season. I think he'll stay in the UK, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Shelby will stay to the end of the season. I think if he was to go, that is. But one link, we'll switch to incomings, and one link that a lot of people are excited by, as long as we don't play long ball football, is Ruben Neves' link. Obviously, he would drastically improve, I think, our centre midfield. And you talk about competition before, Sam, and he would seriously give, in fact, probably all of our midfielders, maybe minus Bruno, some competition in there.
Yeah, you're right, minus Bruno. He's only 25, which is staggering. Real player of quality who, obviously, if he's 25, he hasn't hit his season yet, has he? So there's still more to come from him. Wolves are going through a bit of a rebuild at the moment, are they? I think they'll be okay. I think they will stay up. Great coach now, and they're making some moves in the transfer market this month, aren't they? So whether they're making moves, because I've seen them sign a couple of midfielders already, whether they're anticipating, because Neves hasn't signed a new deal at Molineux yet, so whether they're anticipating a possible sale of Neves, it'd be an exciting addition to the squad for sure. Probably one. Would you say he would be the middle of the three in midfield, or could you see him go either side? Because I would.
Probably either. I mean, he's a great technician. We know that. He's fantastic. Do you know what it is? He's, funny enough, the nearest to midfielder that I think we've got is Jonjo Shelby. That's nearest to him.
Yes.
But he's got a little bit more quality than that, and he can ping a ball. He's great at set pieces. He's good in the tackle, and he's still in his mid-20s. And I think he's stayed at Wolves too long, because it was strange because he joined them in the Championship, and I looked at that transfer when he came from Porto.
They had an influx of players that season, all from Porto, didn't they? I'm sure it's all above board. But
it was 15 million, wasn't it, for a Championship side? It was like Porto to Wolves in the Championship. That's a bit of a strange one.
Well, their takeover happened whilst they were in the Championship, which isn't anywhere near as stringent as the Premier League owners and directors test. So, but I'm sure it's all above board. But yeah, Neves, for me, I'd like to see him the one sit in front of the back four like Shelby does, and allowing Bruno to get a bit further forward and play like the David Silva role. I mean, I think 99% of Newcastle fans would welcome him with open arms, despite his long ball horse shit comments that he made after the 1-1 draw earlier in the season.
Yeah. Oh, what a great moment that was, the ESM's goal, me and you next to each other, gone wild.
Yes, I made a tit of myself on the internet.
Well done, we all do that. It's part of the role, being a inverted commas YouTuber. And
I'm not a
YouTuber. Face it, Sam. Another one. James Maddison link's gone a little bit quiet.
He's injured still.
He is. I was about to say he hasn't played since before the World Cup. Strangely, was selected by Gareth Southgate for the 26-man squad. And do you see that coming back round, or is that now squashed?
My opinion has not changed about James Maddison. I don't think that will happen this month. We need someone who's ready to play. He is not ready to play. Didn't get on for England at the World Cup. Hasn't played a minute since coming back to Leicester. So I think, well, he was dead in the water before. So it might be one that we revisit in the summer. But as this month goes, I think you can forget it. Whether we move for Tielemans or not is a different matter, because he is fit and ready to go. And I think he was the only Leicester player to come out with any sort of credit following the quarter-final last week.
Yeah, I would love to get Tielemans. 6 months left on his deal. Cheeky bid, maybe tempt Leicester, because he can speak to European clubs at the minute, but we'll see on that. But one man who a lot of people are very excited about is Sergei, and I've got to see if I can pronounce this, Milenkovic-Savic. Have I said that right?
No.
Well, I tried to pronounce it.
Yeah, notice how I'm not going to attempt to say it either.
Milenkovic-Savic.
I call him SMS.
Fair enough. Short for other things. But, 60 million we've seen. People who watch a lot of Serie A are very excited by him. Looked at his couple of these stats. He's a giant. He's like 1.94 in height.
My height.
He's huge. Yeah, so another big 6 foot 4 in it.
Yeah, I think 1.94 is about 6'3", but yeah, something like that.
He's got 8 or 9 assists. I haven't got this in front of me. I've just seen this earlier on. 8 or 9 assists. I think he's got 3 or 4 goals. Lazio can play in the pivot, can play in centre, can play in the 10.
Yeah,
he's dangerous from corners. He's 27, so he's a good age, got a lot of experience. And you think about the Serbs, is your typical Serbian midfielder, bust of an engine in there. Can you see this happening? 60 million. I mean, it'll be a big buy. I mean, Steve loves him. Steve really recommends.
Yeah,
And you know,
he's a quality player. It doesn't really fit the mold of the last few, like the summer signings, in that he's entering his prime years, his peak years. There's not a lot. There's not a lot for him to give that we don't already know about. If you know what I mean.
yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. What we know about him is hugely exciting, and this transfer does give me the fizz. So, if we can make that happen somehow, I'd be all for it, and I think that would be an amazing coup for Newcastle. Eh,
If you had 6 million,
head says it won't happen this month, but I mean, who would have thought we could have got a player like Bruno off Lyon in a January window when we were second bottom of the league? So
yeah.
you don't know. If it does happen, wow, that would be a real statement signing to not only press on for a top 4 place, but to win the double.
If you haven't seen Bruno's interview with Sky, make sure you check that out because it's
it was wonderful.
Yeah, it's great. And he tells the story when he was. I know I'm going off topic here, but he tells the story when the club contacted him on his way to international duty. But a couple more other stories before we start getting people in. The Chelsea trio. We always seem to be linked to 3 or 4 of their players. I'll rattle through my thoughts and have yours. I'm not that keen on Ruben Loftus-Cheek, to be honest.
Not good enough.
I don't think he improves us. Gallagher would be, because I think he would a little bit creative as how much does Chelsea want to sell. And I think a winger is now a real possibility heading out the door because you've got Ziyech, who I would take because, you can rotate that wing position. Again, I always look at the bench and think, yeah, there's a player that can come off the bench, start a few games, go on the bench. Even I think I haven't got Pulisic in here, but I think at some point again in the window he'll be linked because they've just splashed.
He's injured again, though, isn't he?
He is, but if you look at Chelsea, because they've just stolen that Ukrainian wonder kid from under Arsenal's walls.
100 million over an 8.5-year deal. Is Mike Ashley handing out their contracts?
Well, that's stealing, isn't it? You could be a massive flop, and the Ukraine League's very different to the Premier League. But what I'm trying to say is they've now got, Ziyech wasn't even playing that often, and now there's another winger come in. You could see him moving out, or even a Pulisic in the future. Out of those 3, which one would you go, right, I'll have him? Or even 2?
Probably Ziyech, because he improves the squad and he's a winger. If Fraser goes, then, we need strength in depth in that area for me, because I want to see Joe Linton back in centre mid. I want to see ASM back on the left. The Chelsea links were always going to happen for a couple of reasons. The main one being, with all this money they've spent, with all these new players that they've brought in, they need to make way. They need to make room in their squad. So other clubs are going to know they have to sell. They have to sell. And they've got to balance their books, otherwise they're going to get stung by financial fair play in a couple of years, which is why they've signed Mudryk on an 8.5-year deal to try and spread that out, which is just crackers. So clubs are going to know they have to get rid. So there's value to be had, if anything, because if you're a buying club, Chelsea have got to sell. You're not going to offer them their true market worth, are you?
No, you're not. But, I could even see a loan towards the end of the season just to tie us over at the summer, then go after the main target. I could see it happen because Eddie Howe's talked about it, and what we're on the 16th of January at the minute. We've still got a couple of weeks left of the transfer window, so we'll see.
There doesn't seem to be any value in loaning players anymore, especially like when we're third in the league. You're just going to get ripped off like Man United tried to do with us with Lingard, and how much have Chelsea paid for Felix for a loan. I mean, that transfer is not even going to be made permanent because he signed an extension at his parent club. So, I don't know. Ziyech for me is the one because we need strength in depth on the wing. Loftus-Cheek isn't good enough. He's had chance after chance and loan after loan. Conor Gallagher, I'm ambivalent towards. He's like Trossard. He's a decent enough player, but he doesn't really excite me.
Oh, take Trossard. 6 months left on his deal. Yeah. Get him.
I don't think he's much better than what we've got. I think we can do better.
I think, yeah, but because you'll get him at a knockdown price, doesn't get on the manager, and 6 months left on his deal, you can get him for under 20 million, I reckon. And he's got, what, 7 or 8 goals and 15 appearances? I mean, that's nearly 1 and 2. Oh, yes. Either that or Jacob Murphy. Yeah, you know what I'm going to say. Every winger that's linked. Moving on to the last few. Leon right back, Malo Gusto's linked, young lad, and I've actually signed him on Football Manager, believe it or not. Turned out to be a wonder kid, but look, I don't know too much about him in real life. This is one for Steve.
Do you think Dan Ashworth sat in his office playing Football Manager?
Well, you never know. Who was it? Who played Football Manager for the scouting? Or seen the
Everton.
story a while back? Was it Everton?
Yeah.
Football Manager on a computer game. A couple of other links from, look, you can take this with a pinch of salt from the Football Insider. I don't necessarily believe some of their rumours.
God, no.
There are a bunch of students who make rumours up and people spread them. But they've got a couple of rumours on there. And there's also another one with a young French lad who's meant to be this wonder kid who plays up top. As well as a couple of times have been linked to him now. So we might hear more about that. I wish it was Mbappe. No, it's some sort
young French lad that plays up top and that's been linked with us a couple of times. That sounds like Mbappe.
It would be nice if it was Mbappe, wouldn't it? But he seems, some Strasbourg striker. Steve knows more about it, but we'll probably do a bid on that if that gets a little bit more serious. I think we should open it up a little bit now then. We've rattled through all of that. We'll approve Mr. Owen. Owen, can you hear us? I've accepted Owen.
I can hear you, yep. Sorry, my mic was muted. It was automatically muted.
Oh, hello, lads. It's that Owen.
Yeah, long time no speak.
Oh.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
I still have the video saved on my phone when we were recording Beer 52 advert.
Do you want to give us another rerun of that?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Those days are over, I'm afraid. So,
yeah, 52. God rest them. It was a good partnership for a year or so. I had a lot of fun that day. It's an inside joke for everybody who hasn't got a clue what on it. But yeah, Owen, anything you want to add to what we've went through tonight?
Well, there's a few things. I think the first thing is that the Shelby to Besiktas deal, right? The only thing I want to say on that is the only way Shelby would end up in Turkey is if you decided that you finally wanted a hair transplant. Okay, some Dr. Cynic treatment.
He doesn't need to. We're sponsored by Dr.
Cynic
in Saudi. In Saudi. He doesn't need to go to Turkey.
But maybe that's the reason he'd go to Turkey. Second of all was the Ziyech thing, because he's one of those players that I feel very, very imbalanced about. I think the positives are he's a left footer, and we don't have many of them in the squad. Like Miggy's left footed, obviously Burn and Target are as well, Botman. But in attacking wise, there's not any really left footers in the squad. Richie and Almiron are the only real left footers that can play up top. So I think it gives us an option cutting in with Ziyech. But the things that sort of put me off him are the fact that he's not really hit the ground. He's not really, broke down any doors at Chelsea. He's not done particularly great. And I don't think I think part of the reason of that is due to his physicality and his and his end product and stuff like that. He doesn't really seem to get into the right spaces. So it's one of those players I feel really imbalanced about, because ultimately, like if he comes here and he does well, then yeah, you're laughing, but there's no guarantee. And I think where we are in the league, which is brilliant, by the way, considering where we were when I was on the channel compared to where we are now, what a difference.
I know, just look what happened when you left.
Oh, I know. Well, cheers for that, Sam. I really appreciate that. But what I'm trying to say is, I suppose, is we need players that we know are gonna do well for us, or players like a Bruno, where there's people who watch them week in, week out know that the potential's in there, but they're not necessarily like a superstar. Do you know what I mean? I think that's where I'm sort of put off by the Milinkovic-Savic link, is where I think he's too well known, and it seems to be every window he's linked with like a Man United, or he's been linked with Spurs, or he's been linked with Chelsea. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's always linked with an English top 6 club, and the one window where we're in the top 6, we're linked with him. And it just seems like we're ticking some journo's box somewhere in the world. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think you got a bit of a point there, especially with Ziyech, mainly because I think what you have to bear in mind is you need players that will buy into the work ethic that's going on in this group of players at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's not just about how many step overs you can do and beat a man to get to the byline. You need to buy into tracking back. You need to buy into to embedding into the squad. And like you say, Ziyech is in and out Chelsea, not pulled up any trees in the Premier League. I kind of see where that is, but are there any other reasonably sort of feasible options for a winger to bring in this month?
I think there's nothing that sort of directly comes to my head, but there's definitely players out there. I'm trying to think of one now, and my mind is not helping me at all. But maybe even someone like that. Is it Madueke from PSV? I know they've just lost Gakpo to Liverpool, but I think young English talent. I think he's eligible to play for the Netherlands, but he's a young English talent, and it's worth it. It's worth a go because he's been equally as good as Gakpo, and it seems that Gakpo went to the World Cup and he's got his big move. And I think Madueke, if he was getting international football when he was on the world stage, he probably would have had that move as well.
Yeah.
He's done equally as good as Cody Gakpo for PSV. So maybe someone like that, again, left-footed. He's a quick, tricky winger. It sort of reminds me of slightly somewhere between ASM and Almiron, I suppose, because he's not as gung-ho as ASM, but also not as, I would say he's as hard-working as Almiron. But someone like that, and I think he wouldn't be very, very expensive. I don't think he'd be stupidly expensive. I know Chelsea have been linked, but I can't see that happening now with them signing Mudryk, which, by the way, is just an absolute rip-off. How are you signing a player from the Ukrainian league for like 100 million? Like, that is just absolutely crazy. Or 88 million, whatever it is. I don't know, but it's just crazy. But yeah, Madueke would be my option.
I mean, let's sort of look back. And Johnny, are you here as well?
I think I've been approved by Mr. Lawler. So yes.
Well, Lee had lost signal, so whilst he gets his back, because his Wi-Fi is renowned for being brilliant because of his company that he works for that gives him free Wi-Fi. It almost never fails. Johnny, thoughts? God, this is like 2020 NFT.
I know.
I want to say something like ridiculous, like Joe Linton should be playing as a number 9 or something like that. But just something like that, that would just make my day.
I don't know what you're talking about, Johnny. I never make spurious takes.
Well, to be fair, the only thing I would say is he never said in front of an entertainer that he played in an FA Cup final when he never did. Isn't that right, Sam?
Well, I'm just trying to figure out how to kick you off the space.
Poor Keith Gillespie.
Poor Keith Gillespie. But
still follows me. Still follows me. Doesn't speak. Well, I don't know, Johnny. Well, I mean, what do you make of the? I thought we were just vibing it. Lee's text me saying that his Wi-Fi isn't with the company he works for. But Johnny, the links today with the 3 Chelsea lads. Do they give you the fizz?
Loftus-Cheek certainly doesn't. Is he better than the 3 midfielders that started yesterday, or even Joe Linton when he obviously moved into midfield when Bruno was substituted? No, not in my opinion. Ziyech, I'm a little bit more in favour with because I like the idea of him, Saint-Maximin, Almiron fighting for a place because. I like Jacob Murphy as a person. I think he obviously cares a lot, and to be fair, he did do a little bit in regards to the goal yesterday. But
he did.
He's not that good. He's not a third place Premier League team type of player in my particular opinion. Hakim Ziyech has more natural ability. I think it's fair to say, and look, he had an amazing World Cup as well, and you can't forget that. So yeah, he's certainly one I would definitely look at if the price is right. And the thing is, you're quite right. I don't know who mentioned it, might have been you, Sam. Chelsea have to sell. They can't.
Yeah,
they can't play like Football Manager. You know what I mean? They've got to actually stick to some sort of rules. But the other one's Conor Gallagher. I've always liked Conor Gallagher, but the argument again is he better than what we've already got? He had one. He was He had one chance against Newcastle when Chelsea came to St James's. There's obviously talent there, but if he's leaving Chelsea, he'd be wanting to play. He doesn't play for me, in my opinion. I don't think you go, yeah, you've got to replace him for him, or you've got to replace him for him. And the thing is, Chelsea be asking for a bucket load because he's quite a young lad as well. So,
Would they get it though?
I think so. I think Palace could have it. Palace got that sort of money, probably not. But they've obviously had him on loan and they've done really well with him. But I can't see him being in Newcastle. So I have to be honest.
I'll tell you what. Sorry to interrupt there quickly while we're on Gallagher. You know, it's funny that we're talking about Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Gallagher in the same breath because they were both in a similar situation, really. Ruben Loftus-Cheek went to Palace on loan, had a blinder of a season, ended up at the World Cup in 2018, and has sort of fallen off a cliff once he went back to Chelsea. And it's almost the same as happened with Conor Gallagher. I don't get me wrong, I definitely think Gallagher's 10 times the player that Loftus-Cheek is, but he's had a good season away on loan at Palace, you know, and he's gone back to Chelsea and hasn't pulled up any trees.
Yeah.
He's been involved with England, but you know, he's not. To me, he's a player with talent, but like he's sort of one of those players that you could see because he's young. He's so highly rated, but he's one of those players that you could sort of see dropping off throughout the middle of his career. You know, you think of players like Fabian Delph or players like that who they all seem to be highly rated when they're young. Even Sean Longstaff was, he was rated higher than he is now when he first broke through. And
doesn't that, I am back, but doesn't that show you that consistency being in the first team is a big thing? You talk about Loftus-Cheek there and Conor Gallagher. If they're not playing regular football, any player can struggle, any player can suffer.
Sure, but I think that's where I agree with Johnny on this. Is that like if he comes here, he's not getting first team football. He'll be on the bench because Longstaff's playing good at the moment. Oh, Bruno's, yes, he's injured, but when he comes back, he'll still be ahead of Gallagher. You know, Joe Linton's can play midfield. He's mint. Willock's good. You know, and
did you ever thought you'd ever say that on anything Newcastle Fans TV? Owen, Joe Linton's mint.
Yeah, I always said he was good. I remember doing a live stream. Right, it was one of the first live streams I ever did, and I said that he'd come good. And I stuck by him the whole way through. I might have called him a donkey a few times, but I didn't actually mean it. So
Johnny said he would have sold him for 10 million.
10 million quid.
Can I just put this in the context? Because it is true, but can I put this in the context?
I agree.
Please? Because it was after his first season at Newcastle, I thought, do you know what? If we're playing him as a number 9, what's the point? Because he ain't getting us any goals. And even after the second year, I was saying, look, just take the loss. But he's not good enough. And to be fair, I'm so glad he's proved us wrong as a central midfielder slash left winger. But at the minute, do you know what it is? It's if someone said, because I think Newcastle fans have voted that Joe Linton was player of the season last year, and I thought he rightly deserved it over a whole season. I know that obviously he didn't start the season great, but ever since then, how kind of transformed him. I think you have to say he was player of the season last year. There is an argument this season that Joe Linton's player of the season so far this season. I know Almiron's done amazing with goals. I know Botman.
I think he is. I think he is, without a shadow of a doubt. I think he is the player of the season. I think you're right. Miggy's got in with a shout, but it's not all about goals scored or assists, or goals created, is it? It's about the input you have into the team. And I think we think Bruno's a vital cog in that system. I think Joe Linton is even more important than most players in that team, just because of the tenacity that he brings and the power and the energy. He can play on the left, he can play in the centre, and wherever he plays, he puts in a shift. Do you know what I mean? And I think if you take him out of that system, I think we're looking a lot more fragile defensively. And even in attack, I think we'd struggle as well because he does so much for what's the word I'm looking for? In the switch, from defence to attack, in the build-up as well, and tracking back. He's a vital cog in that team, and I think you remove him and we'd struggle.
Yeah.
I think you talk about a short list. You'll have to scrap that. It'll have to be a long list.
It would.
For a player of the year. You can't have a short list because there's that many that are having the season of their lives, 9 out of 10s.
True.
7 or 8 players.
Yeah, mine would be Botman, and I'm guessing, Lee, yours would be Cher. And, no one's even mentioned Bruno or Trippier,
Someone else I'd throw into that equation is Willock. I think Willock's although he's not been on the score sheet as often as you maybe like him to be. I think he just how much he how much he does. You think of like the amount of times he's picked up the ball on like that left channel and he's just darted for it. And like, I think of the game against City where he just left Walker just crying on the floor. Do you know what I mean? He just left him for dead.
Yeah.
So many times he's picked up. He's so good in the build up. You know, he can just run and run and run, and he's just brilliant. He gets you that extra 10, 20 yards up the field. It's vital to how we play again. You know.
Yeah, and I think as well, like we've praised the defence and how amazing they've been, but I think one of the biggest, starkest contrasts between, like, you know, Owen, when you were on the channel to now is the midfield. Because how many times did we used to say, we just got overrun in midfield, we've lost the midfield battle, we just couldn't cope with their midfield, to now, we win that midfield battle every week.
Can I just mention a former Newcastle midfielder, and it's some better news, I should say, and it's actually...
Is it Keith Gillespie?
It's not Keith Gillespie. I'd love it to be Keith Gillespie. No, it's Isaac Hayden, actually. So I don't know if people on the spaces have heard, but Darlington played a game. Owen's just swore there. You little daredevil. No, in all seriousness, Darlington played the other day, and there was some sort of injury. I think it's called Paddy Almond, if that's the best pronunciation. I've only seen it briefly. But they needed some money for a brain surgery operation, and Isaac Hayden, as of about just under an hour ago, has just donated £1,000. Now I know £1,000.
What a man!
I know £1,000 for a footballer who's played in the Premier League and the Championship is nothing. Like, it's probably nothing to him, but it just shows what a good human being is, and just I just wanted to share some good news in terms of Isaac Hayden, former Newcastle midfielder, because he's had a tough time at Norwich. He's had a couple of bad injuries as well. And plus, he was our 100th episode on the Greenwood and Milner show. So please, if you haven't, listen to the Greenwood and Milner show, or watch it on YouTube.
I thought at some point one of you will promote it.
Because Sam always tells me off if I don't.
Well, yeah, you should promote it more, Johnny. And we've had many a discussion, but it goes from strength to strength. And he was a top guy when we interviewed him. When this one's for you, we interviewed Isaac Hayden at 6:45 in the morning.
What are you doing up that early?
He had to go and play golf.
Oh, golf.
Yeah, it was a golf charity day for his dad.
Yeah.
Sam's always up that early.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had to ring Johnny in a panic.
Yeah, to be fair, he rang me at 6:30 saying, "Get up now." I was like, "What do you mean, get up now?" I was like, "What time is it?" He says 6:30. We're interviewing Isaac Hayden in 15 minutes. I was like, right, well, I'll try and find a hoodie to wear, and just find something, just throw something on, set up, and then we'll get going.
I mean, you still did that interview naked from the waist down. That was incredible.
Look, that was just a secret, Sam. Come on, that was just a secret between friends.
It's out there now. It's on Twitter Spaces, mate. So
I really wish you didn't stand up during the podcast intro.
Buddy, do you know this is going on YouTube as well?
Well, there you go.
But you do now.
Last thing from me, and I'll let other people, because I know I've taken quite a bit of time. Has there been, since the start of the season, what has been the performance of the season by a particular player?
Maxi versus Man City.
Yeah, you're sensational. That's got to be contender. 3 assists. He was getting slagged off for walk around the Meta Centre. That was some performance, that, wasn't it?
I just wanted to throw it out there, because obviously everyone can talk about the game of the season, but just because
do you know what it is? Well, because of the defence have been that great, Nick Pope has not had a worldie at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't even pick Nick Pope in that conversation, even though he's done nothing wrong. He's been brilliant.
I think Maxi versus Man City is the one that you go.
I tell a lie. Nick Pope against Brighton away 0-0. He was good that day.
Yeah.
We needed red hot that day. Couldn't see anything. He's pulled off a couple of worldies, so that's a performance I remember.
I think mine would be different. I think saint-maximin against City was brilliant, because especially that day as well. I just remember sitting here and it was like red hot sun, and it was so good watching us compete with Premier League champions. Again, something I never thought I'd say in 2020.
Another one. Sorry to put in there, Owen. Isak away at Anfield was phenomenal on his debut.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, it was a good debut performance, definitely. I mean, it would have been even better if they didn't rule the second goal off for offside when he's literally like, if he just chopped his toenails the night before, he would have been on.
Yeah.
Um,
Tell me about it.
But the one I was going to chuck in was Bruno against Brentford at home when he scored 2. But he ran the show that day, didn't he? He just ran the show. Everything that happened in that game went through him. You know, every goal he had a touch in the build up. Do you know what I mean? He was just phenomenal. And I think since that point, he's been good. Don't get me wrong; he's been brilliant, in fact. But I think that's the peak that we've seen Bruno at. I think that's the best performance we've definitely had out of him. You know, and that's not me saying he's rubbish by any means, because he's definitely not. He's the best player I've seen in a black and white shirt in my lifetime.
Yeah.
That I can remember, at least, anyway. So
not Bentaleb, no.
He's a close second, Sam. He's a close second. But no, I'm joking. But
fine margins.
Definitely fine margins. Yeah. Benta, no thanks.
Almiron away at Fulham was brilliant as well.
I was just about to say that.
I'm gonna agree with most of you. I think Saint-Maximin against Man City this season was the performance of the season. Obviously, he's not the player of the season so far, but
we need to take a bit of credit for that performance.
Oh, of course we do. But just I'll let you talk about it, Sam, because I really need to go. But I just want to mention, even though Saint-Maximin Man City is my personal performance of the season so far, Bruno against Southampton was absolutely phenomenal that day. Rounded off with a goal. I know it's not too far from Owen as well, so thought I'd put that in there as well. But that for me, Maxi against Man City was unbelievable. Sam, I'll let you tell you all. I'll let you tell everybody all about it, because it was absolutely amazing. I think it was just down to us that he absolutely ripped Kyle Walker a new one. But have a great evening, guys, and I'll see you all very soon.
Love you, bye. But we did the day before. It was his day at the Metro Centre. You can see on my little Twitter picture circle there, that's a picture of myself and Johnny interviewing Alan Saint-Maximin. Lee was there filming. Liam was there just as our muscle. And it was a cracking day. It was
Mr. Muscle, more like.
Give him a little bit of a pep talk, and I'm not saying it was a coincidence or we had anything to do with it, but hat-trick of assists the next day.
I want to know, Sam, when you're seeing him again, because I'm fed up of seeing him on the bench. I want to see him play.
Yeah, I think we all do, don't we? But you can't kind of.
I think actually, to be fair, with Bruno being injured, there's a possibility that Joelinton gets moved back into midfield.
100%.
Man starts on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Or, since you were talking about this earlier as well, you want about playing Isak and Wilson together. I could see Isak playing on that left-hand side as well.
No, I hate that.
Well, no, I think he's got the potential to do it, because you think of on the Sunday even he was floating into that left-hand channel in the breakaways, because he knows he can beat a man one-on-one. He can beat a fullback, and that's why I play him.
I've had this argument with a lot of current NFTV members in the WhatsApp group, Owen, so I will enlighten you. So, for me, you can't do that and put him on the left. And I will tell you why. So his mould, his kind of his body shape, is the way he plays, his style of play, is moulded very much on Thierry Henry. I'm not saying he is Thierry Henry. I'm not going to say he's going to be as good as Thierry Henry, even though I am a huge Alex Isak fan. Now, I know Henry had spells on the left for Monaco, but he was a phenomenal striker. That drifted out to the left, cut inside, and could put it round the goalkeeper to the far post. That's what Alex Isak should and will be doing later on in his career. He needs to be up top in the centre, where he can do what Henry did. He can float out to the left, he can float out to the right, he can make stuff happen, he can find space, he can do it all. Let's hope he can stay fit and have a good run of games, because it's probably a matter of time before Wilson gets injured again anyway. But I don't want to see him start and just be stuck on the left.
I agree, because I do think he's better through the middle. I do think he's moulded to be a centre forward. But if we're talking about how to fit Wilson and Isak into the same team in a starting 11, I think it's an option. And I don't think he'd be terrible out there either. I don't think he would be. It wouldn't finish him off. It wouldn't finish. He doesn't have to be close to that byline either. He doesn't have to be tight to the touchline. He can almost be like a second striker that sort of departs off to the left-hand side is sort of my thinking with it. Much like when you think of Liverpool's front three of the past, with like Mane, Firmino, Salah, or even whatever, or Jota in there or whatever, they're almost like three forwards in there, aren't they? Really, they very often play as wingers, which is what I think a lot of people think of when you say the word winger. You think they're going to be, close to the touchline, whipping in crosses, and that's I think he'd be good, sort of playing on the left, sort of off Wilson in that pocket. And you've got to remember, if Joe Linton's playing in midfield as well, he covers that left hand side, so he also works as he tracks back and he works up the field as well in that left hand channel. So he wouldn't be isolated out there on the left hand side. I think he'd be a decent option out there. I think if Saint-Maximin's injured, then it's definitely a good option. Obviously, I would prefer to see an actual a natural winger in Saint-Maximin start out there. But my point was that I think Isak could play out there with Wilson if we want to start them together.
Interesting. Anything else to add, lads? Because we've been going for an hour. I thought it would be good to wrap it up. It's good to actually speak to yourself, Owen, as well. Anything you want to add, Sam?
No, it's lovely to speak to Owen again.
That's been
utter joy. I genuinely do still have that Beer 52 ad on my phone, and I watch it from time to time because it still makes me chuckle.
Brilliant. It's in my camera roll somewhere as well.
You'll have to post it for the giggles. But yeah, that's been our space tonight. We've been going for an hour talking all things about Newcastle players, injuries, transfer rumours, and we brought people on at the end as well. If you like this sort of stuff, we'll do it again. We'll maybe a weekly occurrence, me and Sam, or me and Sam plus guest, or me plus guest, or Sam plus guest, whatever works. But yeah, we'll wrap it up here. Everyone have a great night, whatever you're up to. Ta-da.
Love you, bye.